to Insights into Northeast Michigan. This is a Channel 11 News public affairs program dealing with the issues affecting those in the community as well as Northeast Michigan and the state. And now, Insights.
Welcome to Insights. I'm Annie Taylor, and I'm sitting here today with Tom Pelke, the director of the Alpena Resource Recovery Program in Alpena. So I was just wondering, for all the viewers at home, how did you get started in this?
I actually got started 23 years ago. I lived in Saginaw, and it was sort of a thing you would see on TV about other grassroots groups. I was sitting in an ice cream social with some other parents while our kids were playing, and we talked about how everybody seemed to be having recycling programs and we had nothing, and somebody ought to do something, so we decided we should do it. And so we worked on it through the summer, and in the fall we had our first drop-off, and we had 75 cars. And next time we did once a month at my daughter's school. They had a horseshoe driveway, and we found a place that would take the materials we collected. And then the second month we had 150 cars, and then by January, which was the third month, we had somebody offered to bring a semi in to start collecting newspaper.
Oh my goodness.
It was sort of a Jack and the Beanstalk kind of thing. You planted the seeds and it just took off. And after a year, we had other communities calling us, wanting us to help them set up programs, and so it gave us a chance to branch out and meet new people and make connections. And we set up actually a political coalition, and but it always fascinated me because there were so many opportunities in it, and I've always been interested in the environment anyway. My dad was an outdoorsman. My brothers and I were all outdoorsmen. Our whole family is. And we were always interested in the environment and wildlife and so forth, and so it was kind of a natural. And I was in marketing and merchandising, and so when I started to see the products that could be made and so forth, then that generated some interest, and I got talking to the companies that took our materials, and I found out how things were made and what was necessary, and just became more and more involved, and never really looked back. Ever since then, I've just always looked for an opportunity to do something.
What did you do before you got into this? Well,
I did the same thing actually that I continued. Until I took the job with the Solid Waste Authority here 6 years ago. I'd always been a volunteer pretty much, but I'd always been hands-on, and I enjoyed trying to work recycled materials into building projects and stuff like that. But I was in wholesale and retail marketing and merchandising, and so that enabled me to get around a lot and see things that could be done. And so it was just something every morning you get up and you think, what can I do? And my family was very understanding. I actually ended up spending more hours going to meetings and so forth and volunteering than I was working. But it didn't hurt any. My daughter actually, I have a picture of her on the wall in the office loading a newspaper truck when she was 12. And she went on to get her engineering degree. She got a master's in natural resources and then a law degree, so she could be dangerous to somebody out there.
She's well-rounded.
Yeah, and her husband is an energy consultant right now. So anyway, it's good family activity. But anyway, it had to become, commercial and professional and so forth, and I learned how to work with community officials and that to put things through, get the tax monies necessary to build programs, and then you start to work with larger companies and learn how things go, and that's really kind of where I am now. And when this opportunity came here, it was something I always wanted to do, and it's been great.
Right, and obviously you saw results from recycling to the products being made. Sure. Is that something that helped you get more motivated into this? Well,
yeah, I never wanted to say die. It just always seemed like there were things that could be done, and I actually did try selling some plastic lumber for a while, and that I had made a lot of contacts and so forth. We tried several things, but back in the early 90s, the political climate wasn't quite right, the market wasn't quite right, and those things took a long time to get started, and things have really come along now. But I got involved in a lot of other community affairs because the environment encompasses an awful lot of things. You know, your community housing, the crime rates, everything is kind of related. The environment people live in is all related, really.
Right, and that's what I was wanting to touch upon. You mentioned your volunteer work. What were the types of volunteer programs that you worked closely with?
Well, I work with some other citizens to start an anti-gang task force downstate. I've worked with Habitat for Humanity. I was on the board of Christmas in July. That was a program where every year we'd organize, for a weekend, we'd organize a bunch of volunteers in the community, and they go around to people, disadvantaged people, and fix up their homes and so forth. Similar to Habitat, but it wasn't a continuing thing like that. I've worked with a community gardening project. If anybody ever called and said, you know, could you help me with that? You know, we don't. And my wife is the same way. My wife is involved in all kinds of things. We pass each other in the door every night, have for years, and so it just being involved like that just got me more interested in doing other things.
Right, and it seems like a family affair with this. How is your wife helping you out now with any of the stuff?
She hasn't got time. Actually, this is my job, and so when I'm not working, I'm actually out to the animal shelter remodeling the animal shelter.
In Alpena?
Yeah.
Oh wow! So you're just taking on all ventures then.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I love animals, and the shelter needs a lot of help, and we're starting to get a few more volunteers that have got some skills, and so it's going to be a couple of years yet, but we're getting there. And
you're using your recyclable materials at the end?
Actually, we have. We've the transfer station. We get a lot of contractors that come in with materials and from demolition and that, and we've used some vinyl siding from there, windows and doors. In fact, the builders, I let them know what I need, and sometimes they just set it aside for me, and it's easy for me to pick it up that way and take it out there. So,
right.
Yeah, it's been, we've used a lot of things out of there.
Yeah, that's great. Well, coming up next, Tom will have a little show and tell, and we will probably see some of those products coming up, so stay with us. Welcome back to Insights. I'm Annie Taylor. I'm sitting here with Tom Pelke, the director of Alpena's Resource Recovery Program. So, Tom, we left off on, recycling materials and where they go and what you make of them.
Well, I don't make anything of them right now, but the materials we ship out from here basically are cardboard and paper products. I'll go up to Manistee Papers in the UP. They make cardboard containers as of recent, and also they also make the paper products for McDonald's restaurants and a lot of things.
Yeah.
They make a wide variety of materials for a wide variety of other aftermarkets. Our plastic products all go down to Dundee, Michigan. We deal really directly with the manufacturers. In Dundee, they make soap bottles, water bottles. Back in 1990, they got their start in recycled plastics because Procter & Gamble made a commitment to use 25% or more post-consumer plastic in all their bottles, such as this one right here. And they've been going strong ever since.
And that's from recyclable materials?
Yeah, this contains 25% recycled material.
So Downey, in general, most of their products are?
It's stamped right on here. See, and one way to identify it actually is they will say it here, and because they know the public appreciates that kind of thing. It states right here it is 25% guaranteed or more. You will find on some manufacturers it will say this container is recyclable. If your local program accepts it. There's a thing called greenwash out there where a lot of companies, they want to look green, but they don't make the commitments. So they do whatever they can do that doesn't cost them anything.
Right.
Using recycled plastic does have a little extra cost because of the extra process of repelletizing. But the companies that have actually made the commitment are the ones I choose to support. Because I think it's something everybody should do. And actually, there were a lot more companies that were doing it before and have kind of fallen out of the stream. But Procter & Gamble continues to do that. It's with the plastics, it's a matter of percentage of content. Actually, a lot of things could contain recycled plastic that don't, but you have a situation where a valuable volume has a lot to do with it, because when they're running these extrusion machines and blow molding machines, they've got to have a constant supply to make it economical in order to run these, because they try to run at least 1,000 pounds an hour.
Wow.
And so they've got to have plastic coming. So they work with wherever the supply is. That's why some of these odd plastics have so many spotty markets, because there's just so much available to feed a certain number of factories. So that is one reason why, like the 5s and the 7s and so forth, can be difficult. Our scrap metal actually goes to Alpena Recycling.
Okay.
And that's across the road from us. It's convenient. We've got a good working relationship with them, and their metals go all over to all kinds of different uses. Scrap metal is used in automobiles and just about everything metal anymore, a certain percentage of it. And then our electronics, they go down to Grand Rapids. Valley City Recycling is a licensed e-waste recycler. The thing with electronics is that they not only contain valuable materials, but they also contain some toxic materials.
Right.
You got cadmium, mercury, and lead in them. And those folks are trained to separate that from the units. They do resell sellable materials, products that are still usable, but they are licensed and trained to handle all that stuff properly, and that's why we do it the way we do. We don't tear these things down. We'd love to sell the copper and so forth, but the integrity of our program is that it's handled properly.
Right, do it the right way, or don't do it at all.
We don't have to worry about the bad stuff being dumped in the woods or anything like that.
Right.
The idea is to keep this stuff out of the landfills, and Valley City actually guarantees 100% recycling.
Oh, wow.
And they don't dump it in a third world country or
Right.
a South Sea island or anything like that.
Right.
So that's really our local materials. That's really the extent of that. Volume this year is up quite a bit over last year at this time.
Of people bringing in.
Yes. With the number of drop-offs we have now and awareness coming, we get calls every day from new people. Volume is up, and so if we ever get enough space, we'll try and add more items.
Right.
But we do the best we can with the resources we have to work with. There are a lot of other products that are made from recycled materials, and a number of them actually aren't being made in sufficient quantities that would provide a lot of economic opportunities.
Right.
They're slow to get started, and the interesting thing about recycled products is the amount of energy, resources, land, and everything that they save. And probably the quintessential energy savings is in oil. We all go to some place to get our oil changed, or most of us do. And now this is a quart of re-refined oil. It takes 2 quarts of used oil to make that quart. This is a quart of traditional motor oil made from virgin oil. This takes 20 gallons of crude oil to make. So if we did more of the re-refining of the natural resource that we've already developed,
right,
you know, obviously our energy savings is tremendous. I mean, the Exxon Valdez dumped a little over 11 million gallons of crude oil, which we're still cleaning up. And if you can, you think about all the oil changes that one quick change oil change place does in 1 year, you practically replace the Exxon Valdez.
Wow.
I mean, but that's just the tip of the iceberg, but it is a good way to show. We don't have a glass market right now for Alpena that we can use because it's economically just impossible.
Right.
The traditional glass markets are all in Detroit, and the financial return as opposed to the resource we have to work with just won't. But this is a patio block that I started making these about 12, 14 years ago. This is something to try. And then I found out later that actually they have been using this for decades in other states.
Right.
Nothing much around Michigan.
And this is a patio block that you made.
Yeah.
Well,
Which goes to show you don't have to be all that smart to do it.
Right. Well, when we come back, Tom will explain more about the patio block as well as what you can do in the community to help out. Welcome back to Insights. Now, where we left off, Tom was talking about some of the products that are made out of recyclable materials and that he's created. So, Tom, why don't you finish off here?
Well, I haven't created an awful lot yet, but I was just mentioning this block. Actually, this has 5 pounds of broken mayonnaise jars, wine bottles, and so forth in it. And it was just something I did as an experiment, and I found out that they are doing this in other places in the country. And there are a couple places in Michigan downstate that have been using glass. Glass actually has cementitious properties which increase the strength. I had one tested actually was 30% higher breaking strength than normal concrete mix.
Because that does look like it would hurt if it fell on your foot.
It would. It's heavy. There are some other things. We are actually working right now here in Alpena with some people to possibly develop some products out of this, which would be outstanding. We also are very close to having a glass fault project this year, which would enable us to take glass finally. But I can't give any more details because I've been disappointed before, and I don't want to
jinx it.
But we're very close. And the nice thing about glass fault is an aggregate. We did it downstate 20 years ago for a couple projects, and the nice thing about it is you don't have to sort the colors or anything. You can use broken dishes, any kind of glass stemware. Rather, you don't have to keep it all container glass, which is a problem when you're working with a container market because the color is different. Another thing is you'll see on HGTV they make countertops, kitchen countertops, bath vanity tops, out of glass and cement. This particular sample came out of California, and this one has been featured on TV. It's called Vitraso. But there are several other brands, and I was told that there is a company down in Lansing that's actually in production of these, their own type. But the great thing about this is it's 80% glass, 20% cement.
Wow.
And you can do it in any kind of colors you want. You can take brown glass and make a brown top, green tops, whatever. In fact, there's a lot of character to it, too. You can actually custom make, if you want to make a bar top for a bar in your basement, take broken wine bottles and you have wine bottle labels in it. a product that actually I'm using at the shelter right now. Where'd it go? Oh. This is recycled plastic. This particular one is made in Indiana. There isn't anybody in Michigan using recycled plastic to make sheets that I know of right now. But this is the nice thing about this product is that it's got agriculture opportunities, milk coolers, feed bins, all that kind of thing. The grain trucks, you can line the beds with it. It slides out easy. It doesn't contaminate the food. Actually, 20 years ago, I borrowed some money, and this is the last remaining sample of some that I had made myself. I had to go use 3 different companies to get it ground up, washed, cleaned, and extruded. But I made 25 sheets of it. It's 1/4 inch thick. I used number 4s and number 2s because they're compatible.
That's recyclable plastic?
Yes, this is all recycled plastic. I took local materials from our area down in Saginaw, had it ground up, washed, and so forth. But it's right now, when I use it, I have to get it from Wisconsin.
Oh, wow.
But you can see it's so durable. You can make it in different thicknesses. It's another one of those economic development opportunities that are possible.
Right.
You know, if we take the plunge, but then again, you have to have the volume of plastic in order to keep feeding the product. But farmers use it, veterinarians use it. You could put it, a homeowner could find hundreds of uses for a product like that. And to have it in Michigan would lower the cost, because in Michigan we have to have it shipped in from somewhere else.
Right.
And with the amount of agriculture in this state, not to mention the other uses, it would be a great opportunity.
Right.
So those are some things that I've kicked around and I've talked to people about. There's some interest.
Right.
But
well, that's always good.
It'd be just great to see something like that happen, because I always felt that recycling could be such a win-win situation with providing the job. The manufacturing jobs is where the technical knowledge is required and the equipment and so forth. And so I just would really love to see that take off in this state. It would, for the need that we have, it seems like the ideal way to go.
Now, I want to ask you, on a national level, you know, recyclable materials and the environment is obviously taken off. More, you know, talk about it. So how has that affected Alpena and the community here?
I think it's had a lot of effect. I think people have been very concerned about the global warming issue. Our household hazardous waste traffic has increased dramatically.
Right.
People are really trying to do the right thing, and we've tried to keep the cost of that down as much as we can. I think the general awareness is really obvious. You see it in the schools. More and more classrooms are getting involved in that kind of thing. It's natural resources on the curriculums anymore. I think it's had a lot of effect in Alpena. Our participation rate has increased every year. Actually, this is 2011 was the first year that the program was actually strictly Alpena run, because the Waste Authority had dropped it, you know, 2 years ago for financial reasons, and the increase in participation in Alpena County was so dramatic for that first year, and we could tell. I mean, the year before, we were 13% over the year before when we had other counties participating. Right. So, you know, you can see how it's picked up. And we've had a tremendous influx of retirees and others that have come north and have seen what we have. And our program actually is very complete for the resources we have, and people can't believe the services that we do provide in this county. Right. Is a responsible solid waste program.
And that's what I was
for the investment we have.
Right, and you know, what else can viewers be doing at home? I mean, I know that you have a pamphlet here that you'd like to share, how people can get in contact with you.
Yeah, actually at home, just watch the packaging you buy. how much of it, buy more in bulk. There's a lot of things you can do to reduce waste. Okay, we do have this flyer that was designed for us by Northeast Michigan Council on Government. It has a map of we have 9 permanent drop-off sites around the county. It's easy to find. You can also drop off at the transfer station. These sites are available 24/7. You can do it on the way to work or school or church or whatever.
That's so
you want.
convenient for people.
Yep, and if you have any questions, there's a phone number here. You can call us Monday through Friday, and we're open on Saturday morning. We're happy to help out. We just assume people would ask if they have questions before they throw contaminants or anything else in.
Right.
And please follow the guidelines, because the guidelines are so important. When these materials go to market, we have to satisfy them, or they go shopping somewhere else. And it is a business, and that's the way it is.
Well, thank you so much, Tom, for
thank you.
coming and joining us today on Insights. You can catch Insights next week at 11 as well.
Insights into Northeast Michigan has been a Channel 11 News Public Affairs program. If you have any comments, suggestions, or topics you would like to see on a future show, please email us at the web address on the screen. This has been a production of Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation. All rights reserved.